What's up, everyone? It's your girl who is, in fact, Dad me, and I ate a Hot Pocket before filming this, so my tummy is happy. As you may or may not know, it is April, which means, at least in the United States, maybe the rest of the world, it is Autism Awareness Month. So you may have seen all of the Light It Up Blue campaigns, the puzzle piece logos on everything, and many, many things about autism, I guess. You also might have noticed that people who are actually on the spectrum may also refer to this as, or at least strive to refer to this as Autism Acceptance Month. You may be one of those people who are thinking to yourself, but Laura, why the fuck would we want to call it Autism Acceptance Month? Isn't it kind of like Breast Cancer Awareness Month? Do we call it Breast Cancer Acceptance Month? Do we call it Suicide Acceptance Month? Do we call it Sexual Assault Awareness and Acceptance Week sort of thing? I know, if you are not familiar with that sort of movement, I guess this can seem a little bit sudden and you may not know where it comes from, and that's where this video comes in. So basically, I'm going to explain why some people strive for acceptance instead of just calling it awareness, and I'll be talking about a couple other things that people on the spectrum actually find I don't know if I want to say controversial, or, basically we have opinions about certain things, and I would love to give you my perspective on this. I am by no means an expert. You could do research on some of this on your own, but I'm happy to provide anything that I know. So let's jump into it. So the first question you might have is, acceptance? Why that word? That's an oddly specific way of putting this. Well, here's the thing. Awareness about autism is super awesome, just like awareness about any other thing. It's great. It's a good thing to know about. It's a good thing to educate yourself on, and it's a good thing to maybe find any good examples of positive representation of that, or any examples of, hey, this person had this thing that they were living with, and they made success in their lives, or were able to lead a fulfilling life, whatever that may mean to them, or I guess what you may call a fulfilling life. And I think this might apply to anything else where awareness is great. That's a good thing to have. But it's not always enough. Because you can be aware about something as much as you damn well please, but if you don't accept it as a part of, someone's life, or maybe as a thing that's happening, then what's the fucking point? Like, if you have a family member who is autistic, you could be aware of that autism as much as you please, and especially if you live with this person, you could be very much aware of it. But there's a big difference between just being aware that it's there and accepting that it's there, because maybe while you're aware of it, you could be in complete and utter denial about it, especially if they are the more high-functioning or minimal needs, and whichever you prefer to call it. And if you're not willing to accept that this person lives with this disorder, then, as aware of it as you may be, you could still be very harmful if you don't accept it. Because if you don't accept it, then you're just invalidating that it's even there, you're invalidating that person's experiences, you're invalidating, almost entirely their existence. Right now, I'm not sure of a better way to word it, but maybe I'll think about it and write it down, because I do tend to express my thoughts a little bit better when I'm writing, and I think I understand things a little bit better when I read it or figure out how to apply it. But that's the basic take on why I would prefer acceptance rather than just awareness. And another part of that acceptance is listening to anybody who actually is on the autism spectrum when we say things like, I don't agree with the puzzle piece logo. Autism Speaks is problematic. Acceptance is a good thing to strive for. So basically the things that I'm talking about. Because if you didn't have the acceptance, then you probably wouldn't be taking the things that I'm saying very seriously. At least, that's my opinion and what I've noticed. I mean, if I end up being completely wrong about any of this, I'm happy to admit it, but I'd rather base this off of personal experience and facts, and also other accounts, so, this is me. actually, speaking of the puzzle piece logo, many people who actually are autistic have expressed concerns about what the puzzle piece logo can stand for. Like, nowadays, lots of people know that when they're on different items, like bracelets and things, especially if it's like rainbow puzzle pieces, like the ribbons and all that, like, the sentiment is very much appreciated. Like, if you're willing to be supportive of us, that's awesome, and seriously, thank you. However, the problem with the puzzle piece logos is that it's kind of dehumanizing, because it's suggesting that any of us who are on the spectrum are puzzles that need to be solved, or we're puzzles that we need to be put back together, like a part of us is lost or something, and that's not how autism works at all. We're not broken humans, we just want people to understand us and be able to adapt to us like we adapt to you guys all the time. And really, if you just look at us more like people, maybe that might make this acceptance thing a bit easier. It's also worth noting that adults that are on the spectrum get ignored a lot more often than kids, because so much information and so many of these programs are aimed towards helping kids, and are also aimed towards the families who are scared and nervous and unsure and may not know a lot about this, and that's where problematic programs like Autism Speaks might capitalize on. But before I go too far off topic, yeah, the puzzle piece thing is really well-meaning, especially with the meaning it has been given over time, but it's kind of better to aim something more towards the infinity sign, because it's more inclusive and it's supposed to represent like the diversity, and it's really like a loop of like all kinds of things. And I also got the rainbow because it's like also an inclusive part of the symbol. So basically, that's the whole reasoning I got the tattoo and why I did not get a puzzle piece with this. And as far as Autism Speaks being a problematic organization, I could seriously sit here and do an entire video on that. Maybe I might save it for one later this month, maybe add it as a secondary one next month, or maybe just have it. But yeah, you always want to do your research when it comes to these organizations. I feel like there was something else I was going to talk about, but I can't remember right now. Maybe I should write this shit down. And I guess this cycles back to the acceptance part, where really autism is a spectrum. Like, you're hearing me talk about this, and you're watching me talk about this, I guess. And well, the thing is that I'm just one person. I obviously can't speak for everybody on this spectrum, because I'm just me. And as the saying goes, you meet one person on the autism spectrum, you have met one person on the autism spectrum. So, again, obviously, I can't speak for everybody. I can mainly speak for myself, but this is stuff that I've kind of noticed is a common thread, and it's nice to have our voices heard, whether it be our actual voices or some sort of communication that we use to give to you, maybe like this sort of video interaction sort of thing, or like tablets, text-to-speech things, whatever it is. Like, take some time to listen to us. That would be great. You never know what you can learn, and maybe you'll get a really cool perspective on something, or maybe you'll learn something out of this, which I'm hoping I helped somebody do, or at least validates what someone else like me might be feeling or thinking. And it's really a lot of these feelings and thoughts that make April a very awkward month for me, typically. Especially in the beginning of the month, when I see all the lighted up blue shit, and blue light bulbs and blue puzzle pieces, and all this propaganda with Autism Speaks, and it's just like, it makes me very uncomfortable, and it's just like, no. But I can also understand not knowing all of this stuff and then trying to learn about it beforehand, but what's important is that you're willing to get yourself educated on it or listen, and I really hope that's what everyone's been doing this month at any opportunity of that. So those are some of my thoughts on acceptance versus awareness. Hope you guys got something out of this. I think I got something out of this. My brain is also like through everything, so I'm trying to remember everything that I was going to talk about, and it's making that difficult. And who knows, maybe I'll share my own personal story on my journey, adventure, whatever, I don't know. I'm still deciding on whether or not I want to do that, but it could also be based on interest. On a side note, I do plan on using any of your suggestions, any of your questions. If you have any that you would like me to read, use hashtag AskDadAskMe. I will put it in the description. You can use that either in the comment section, you can use it on any of my social media, or just say, hey, I have a question that I would like you to answer in a video, and then post it, and I'll read it, and maybe get to read it for this thing, and answer your question. Please, send me things. I've gotten a few so far that are really interesting, and I'm excited to see where that goes. And on another side note, I am in the works of getting a charity live stream put together. It should be within the next couple of weeks, maybe the first weekend of May, but the fact that this is a potential thing that's going to happen is really fucking exciting, and I will definitely announce it as soon as I can, along with any other details that you may need to know about it. And yeah, I'm really excited about this. I really hope that everything just works out, knock on wood or whatever. And otherwise, I hope you all have been having a good week, a good month, a good time? Question mark? And as always, thank you so much for tuning in. If you like this, my name is Laura, and I am Jack Aspie. If you didn't like this, I am Troy Baker, and I will see you all next time. Bye!